live from the Mighty Veedverks Airship. We're going to do something cool today. We've got Michael Cora, MMA fighter, and let's see if we, barring any technical difficulties here, let's give this a shot and see if we can go straight into it. Boom. If anybody's there, can you hear me, Michael?
Yes, sir, I can.
Cookie Monster, because you like cookies and also you like knocking people out.
The kind way.
The kind way. So tell us where you come from. How did you get into fighting? How did you, how's it been fighting so far? Sorry, I'm trying to multitask here, and I think we're looking. Somebody give us a thumbs up if you can hear us okay. If you can hear, especially if you can hear Michael okay. Appreciate that. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes?
Yeah. Yep.
Yes.
Perfect. So, I was born in Brooklyn, New York, and growing up, I always like to say I'm a fighter in life in general. Even though I fight professionally, but in life I've always been a fighter. From the bad upbringings I've had to endure growing up, especially at a young age. You really didn't understand it. So when I turned 18 and 19, it was mainly in high school, I really followed MMA. I always loved it. Like all my family and friends used to always say, Michael, you should try it. Michael, you should try it. And at that time, I was so big into baseball and football, and those were my two first loves. And I was like, maybe after I'm done playing these sports. And so when I was 20, I gave it a try, and I fell in love, and everything's history. But like I said, growing up in Brooklyn, I'm thankful I had a strong mother because she's done everything for me, and I owe her everything. So I fight for my family, and mainly for my mom, my aunts, and my grandma, because they paved the way for me. So I'm always in debt to them. But like I said, growing up in Brooklyn, we had a lot of up and downs, and I really have a great relationship with my father. But he is the reason why I am the man I am today. I'm thankful that he gave me a lot of pain growing up, and I love him to death. But that is the reason why Michael is Michael. And so when I started fighting, and when I was 20, I started training. And at first, I played college football. So I played college football for 1 year, and I was a middle linebacker. And going into MMA, the transition, I didn't want to be a heavyweight. I didn't want to fight with the big boys. I didn't want to endure that type of head trauma. So I told myself, all right, let's get in good shape and slowly, get down. And I was gonna want to fight at 205 at first, but then I realized I can make 185. So when I got down in weight, training and everything, everything came together. So I wouldn't say easily, but it was just a smooth transition. It's like something that I've always had inside me, and it was the direction I should have been going for a long time. And so everything came smooth. The coaches used to always ask me, "Hey, have you trained before?" And I was like, "No, just an athlete." I'm like I told you before, I'm a great visual learner. So when I see things, I can emulate that really, really quickly. So as in training MMA, I was training with professionals at the time. I didn't even know they were professionals. I thought they were just amateurs, and I would do well, hold my own. Obviously, I would get beat up, but if anything, like it just made me more enthusiastic about just continuing to learn and getting better. And then when I was 22, February 2012, I started fighting, and it just something that just went really, really fast. I was naturally a knockout artist. Like I would go in there, and I'm a fan favorite, so I go in there, and like I don't like at first I used to love to like put on a bang and brawl type of fight, but I realized that my brain is everything, so I started shying away from that. But I would get the knockouts. I would knock people out, and it would be a little devastating. And but me, like as a person, like I'm not like that. I'm just very kind and nice. But when we're in line of fire, I make sure I put it all in there. And so fighting amateur, I was well known in Florida. I fought the who's who's, and then so I had a couple years fighting amateur. In 2013, so I started in 2012. Doing well. Lost my first two amateur title fights, so that like really hurt. But if anything, like I said, it just made me more enthusiastic to continue to chase the dream. And if anything, I felt like I just belonged in the cage with everyone that I've competed with. And early 2013, a year into fighting amateur, I broke my orbital right up here. And if that clearly told me like, Michael, this is your life, this is where we're going, this is the direction we're heading, and there's no going back. And honestly, breaking my orbital, it didn't hurt at all. It really felt like a mosquito bite with a bee sting combination. It itched, but it stung really, really bad. It really didn't hurt, but I knew something was wrong because I couldn't open my eye, and so I had to go to the hospital. And I hate going to hospitals, so I was trying not to go to the hospital. But since I couldn't open my eye, they were like, you probably should go to the hospital." So I went to the hospital, and it took me 6 to 7 months to get back to normal from breaking my orbital. And at first, some doctors said I shouldn't fight again, but that was just not in my mentality. I was like, oh, I'm gonna come back, and I'm gonna be back 10 times stronger. And that's what I did. I took every day. At the beginning, it sucked because I lost a lot of memories. I was kind of a lot slower than like normal because of the concussion I sustained. But having cannabis, it really helped a lot. It helped me get Michael back to Michael, and within 8 months, I got back to fighting, and I won my first amateur title. And then from that point on, like it just was a compound effect. I continued to train, continued to fight, but I took everything the smoother and uh, more efficient route. Took my time, grew daily as a person and as a fighter. And in 2015, I turned pro. And even though I lost my first pro fight, if anything, failure to me is brings kind of joy to me because I'm like, oh man, like I hate to lose and I hate to fail, but I know that there's always a message and a lesson to learn from every failure. So I get more enthusiastic. Like I just like if I believe I can be a world champion and then I go and fail, I'm gonna believe that 10 times more. It's just my nature, and so like I said, I lost my first pro fight, and then I won 4 straight, and all by knockouts. And then I got the opportunity to go meet Dana White and all the UFC executives, and got the opportunity to fight on the Contender Series. And even though I didn't get the decision that I wanted on the Contender Series, I still sit here today, and even after the fight, I looked in Dana White's eyes, and I told him like I will be back, and I will be a UFC world champion. There's nothing that can stand in my way. No matter the trials and tribulations I have to go through for my career, I'm gonna overcome it. I feel like in life I've had a tougher upbringing than anything that can happen now in my career. I get to live my dream, and I'm blessed to be a professional mixed martial artist and have a positive light that everyone could look up to. And like to this day, I sit here and I tell you guys, I will become a UFC world champion. There's nothing that really can stop to stand in my way. I don't care if I lose one more time or two more times, but I'm just gonna get right back up, and I'm gonna be more enthusiastic than before because that's just in my nature. So I just try to be that positive light for people. At first, growing up, I didn't like to tell people my story and my upbringing, but now I realize that's my story, and I have to, elaborate and tell the masses because there are kids out there that are going through what I went through, and if I can be that light for them, that's what I want to be. So being a fighter, it was hand in hand from when I was raised. I believe I was a fighter since I was born because of all the pain and everything I had to endure. And I'm so blessed that I was the oldest because I had to look after my brothers and my mom because my mom is everything. So like I try to do everything for my mom, my aunt, and my grandma because I see them and I see how strong they are. I'm like, man, like I got to be stronger because they're strong women. So that's just a little bit about Michael and why I aspire to be a UFC world champion and continue to be that positive life for individuals and kids, mainly the kids around the world and even adults as well.
In addition to being an MMA fighter, you're part of our Canna fam. We it turns out like a lot of people who it is amazing that we've never actually met because we've got we have a lot of mutual Facebook friends, I guess is one way to put it. And you mentioned cannabis, how it has affected your life positively, and you're a really good, strong voice out there for the movement, for the plant. And so I wondered if and we have a specific question here from James asking what's your favorite strain as well. But so tell us about how cannabis has affected you and your life.
Okay, so for James, the question on what's my favorite strain, I have a couple. I'm more of an indica individual. I love indicas, but I love the sativa strains and the hybrids. But I would say anything in the cookie family, or maybe like a gelato or sunset sherbet. Those are kind of like my favorites. But I would like to stick to like indica. So Granddaddy Perp, around those realms. That's my favorite. Obviously nowadays you have a lot of hybrids on the market, but for sativa strains, I would say Blue Dream is probably my favorite sativa strain. I love Blue Dream.
That's what I've.
But for me in cannabis, growing up playing sports, baseball and football, I never thought I would consume cannabis. I used to hate the smell. I really didn't like it. I would have a lot of like my football teammates or my baseball teammates that used to consume, while we were in high school, and I didn't. It was just not something for me at that time. But I had one good friend that would always tell me like, hey, like if you ever want to try it, like I'll be here. I'm not gonna peer pressure you. And these were two that I play football with, and we used to watch all type of sports together, from basketball to football, to baseball, to almost every type of sports, and we had a lot of mutual common background on like some teams, and some teams we were just more rivals to each other. But I gave it a try one time, and it was probably the best experience I've ever had. I loved it. And it was the best feeling ever. I wish I could go back to that day, but from that day on, I fell in love with cannabis. And then maybe a year and a half afterwards, me and one of my good like brothers in life, we just, when I was going into MMA, I was also researching and doing so much homework on cannabis. Like I wanted to know everything about cannabis, from growing to everything. I wanted to know all the scientific benefits and medicinal values that it had for me and my career, and how I can, you know, let everyone else know how great cannabis was. And like my mom and my aunts, they think I'm a doctor because I preach so much about cannabis, but I just believe in it. And I've done a lot of homework from when I started consuming it when I was 18. So the first time I tried cannabis is when I was senior year. It's like January, February of my senior year. I was 18, about to graduate, and I consumed it for the first time. And like I said, I fell in love, and from that point on, I just did more and more homework on it. And the more and more homework I did, and the more research I found on it, all the positivity, I was like, man,
Yeah.
like, it's all propaganda that we think, because
They lied to
like,
us. They lied to
yeah,
us.
they lied to us.
They lied to all of us. I still can't get over it.
Yes, and then growing up, like I thought it was bad. You read all these things, it's a bad thing, it's a gateway drug, this and that. But in reality, when you do your homework and you research and you really find the truth, you realize that, well, it's not a lie. And this is the one of the best things for us. We should be consuming it daily, and so I would watch videos on everything. One of the I guess he's an MD or a doctor. William Courtney. He stated that cannabis is a dietary essential, And when I read that, I was like, wow, yeah, that is exactly true. Like, we should be consuming it on a daily basis. So I try to consume it on a daily basis. I wish I can cook with it now, but I can't at the moment. But as much as I can indulge in cannabis and trigger off my receptors and continuously to get the cannabinoids and terpenoids and flavonoids in my system, I will. It sucks that going into like fights, I have to like stop because just in case I get drug tested, I can't fail a drug test because I don't want to lose money and be fined and all that. So I have to like stop, at least a couple weeks before fights. But as much as I can consume cannabis, I will, and I try to preach it to all especially my teammates and fighters that do a lot of sparring. Me, I'm a fighter now that I hardly spar because I believe my brain is everything, and I don't need to spar because I've been in so many fights that I understand the whole dynamic of it. So I try to stay away from hard, like heavy sparring. But
Me
as much
too.
as I can educate and consume it, I do.
Well, I think, one of the things, Travis had mentioned that we both have a lot of mutual friends together. And I noticed that too, when you and we connected on social media, how many friends you and I already had. But what brings you into the fold is so many of us make our mess our message. And that's what you did. You came from a certain start and where you're at, and you've had these these injuries, and you've found what is helping you. And so that's what makes it so profound. But you brought up something, in the news just the last 2 days, Serena Williams was reporting that she felt like she was getting popped for drug tests just, like all the time. And then there was a swimmer that was basically, he was kicked off because he was getting intravenous IV vitamin C treatments. So it makes me wonder, as an MMA fighter, what you need to do to safeguard yourself from that kind of attack and retribution.
So, for IVs, we're not allowed to, technically, you can, in the regional circuit, you can get IVs and to help benefit your body. But when you get to the UFC, that is banned. So
they said it was delivery. You could go to Walgreens and get a container of vitamin C and take them all day long, and they didn't have a problem. But it was the fact that he took it intravenously. So that makes me, in the world of CBD and the new legalization, what's going to be allowed as far as sports?
Well, CBD is allowed in the MMA, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, CBD, especially the World Anti-Doping Agency just, took it off the ban list, and so even in USADA, the anti-doping agency that the UFC is partnered with, out of competition, you're allowed to consume cannabis, but in competition, which is 6 days before your fight and then 6 hours after your fight, you just have to, be clean when you take your tests, and that's the only thing. I was blessed and fortunate that going into my Contender Series fight, I failed my drug test because I didn't know that I was going to get drug tested. But the UFC executives, they gave me the green light. They said I was okay, and it was not really. They were not looking for cannabis. Really, they were looking for more like steroids and anything banned that was in my system. But I don't have anything that's in my system except for cannabis, really. So they gave me the green light, and then on my fight day, I had to take another test, and I passed that as well. So I was okay. At first, I thought I was gonna get in trouble, but the UFC, they're moving to that new age of allowing their athletes to consume cannabis. It's just when they are coming into fight day, you have to just pass the commission test. They have no say so with the commission. That is just a separate test that the commission takes. So as long as you abide by all the rules and do your due diligence and homework, you should be fine. But out of competition, you're good.
That's good. I think that most of the major sports are going to move that way eventually.
I really hope so.
They have to, especially.
Well, we dealt with a situation this year in the legislature trying to define acute pain and when do you give CBD. And as more.
Well, that wasn't in the legislature. Wasn't about CBD.
Well,
CBD is legal in 50 states.
Not the CBD, but when you can take cannabis. When
you can be prescribed. They were trying to add a 9th or a 10th qualifying condition.
And what stood out to me as far as the sports organizations is as soon as you're injured, that's when you need to be just pounding your body with as much as you can to fight the inflammation.
Yeah.
It's right then and there is when you need it, not after you've had the injury for 2 or 3 years.
You can't use cannabis. You can't be prescribed cannabis-based drugs in Colorado because you just busted your knee. You have to wait for 2 months for it to become a chronic pain problem, and then you can get a prescription in Colorado for cannabis-based drugs.
And it's just crazy. It's
I don't know. We fight these little fights one at a time.
Mm-hmm.
And you fight.
You should be consuming it right from the get-go. I don't know. Also, I've done a little bit of research and I know this is more into the future, but I was thinking there should be some type of stem cell treatments with combination of cannabinoids like CBG, CBN, CBC, THCV that you can put in, for torn meniscuses or let's say me for like my broken orbital. But like I said, it's more down the line in the future, but I think that that can help a lot of athletes as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a whole new dawn of medicine, a whole new dawn of just wellness products in general.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's so many. I don't know. I truly believe we could save the planet by freeing this plant, and I think that we're going to free the planet. So maybe we're going to end up saving the planet.
I agree with the same.
We know it does great things for our body, but it does great things for the earth as well. Yeah. So replacing fossil fuels, and I don't even remember what the last count of how many products could be replaced with hemp.
Yeah. I'd like to mention to other hemp CBD business owners, even marijuana business owners, like Michael is a stand-up guy for the plant, and look what he's doing right now. If you're interested in sponsoring somebody who's going to be a positive role model out there that has a big voice with a set of people, I mean, I highly recommend dealing with this guy. You're really a good guy to know.
Thank you, man, Charles. I truly appreciate that. But the reason why, and I always say it's because of my past. Growing up, I've endured a lot of pain that I shouldn't have. And like I said, I wish I had a little bit better upbringing, but from seeing it in a different perspective of like my other friends and family members, but I wouldn't change anything. I would go back and do it all again, because if I didn't go through any of that, I don't think I would be the man I am today. If my dad didn't put me through that pain growing up, I don't think I would be the person I am today. So even though I don't have a great relationship with my father, I still love him to death. I thank him so much, but I don't want people to go through the pain I went through. I don't want, especially kids, I want people to understand that like you can accomplish anything you want in life. Just be positive. Even when it's really, really dark, like I promise you, just keep pushing, because that light is coming soon. There's always light at at the end of every tunnel, and you just have to just be very positive. Like I said, I've gone through a lot, but I wouldn't change it. I will go back and do it all over again, but I just want to be that positivity for everyone.
Yeah.
And so I intertwine it with cannabis, because cannabis is everything to me. I love it so much.
Me too.
Thinking
about the drug test, like we should still sometime get like a whole case of like drug tests from Walgreens or something, and just make sure every now and then have random tests to make sure that you test positive for cannabinoids.
That's right.
It's a health check.
Make sure that our systems are up to date.
Yeah. But,
I would like to know where I am, because with me, I take a dropper full of 1,500 CBD in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
I have transdermal patches. I use Amelia all day long, and then at night it's a full spectrum. And then during the day, I will probably be off the flipping charts, and never feel high, ever in the daytime.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think if I probably had the amount that I have in my system now 5 years ago, I would just.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It took me all the 3 years I've been here to probably build up to this
Gonna
point.
do the same thing. Same with you. Shout out to Michael Miller, by the way. Panacea. You guys should spike. You guys should talk to Michael. But
Hi, Mike.
The way that this microphone is set up, like that's gonna.
Oh.
So I was doing.
Michael's a tapper too.
I was grabbing Michael's hand yesterday, so I'm grabbing Michael Miller. He's the president of the National Cannabis Chamber of Commerce, and we're doing shows on Tuesdays.
Yeah, we were comparing our quirks yesterday. He had a little thing that said, "Don't rock," and I'm like, "Oh, I'm the same thing. I bite my lip. I have to a little no."
Yeah.
You don't realize you have these little quirks till you see yourself on video.
Yeah, I gave up caring about what I looked like a long time ago because it's never gonna make you look like you think you look.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. It's just like you don't think you sound the way you do on video
that
either.
sounds stupid, I know that.
Oh, I'm so country. Just carry me back.
Anyway, let's see if any
questions?
Yeah, I was looking for any questions up here. James has asked a bunch.
Well, I want to know what your training's like. What's your day like?
And I want to know if you have any fights scheduled, or and also definitely how people can reach out to you. Where your social media is and everything. We'll share that as well.
So training, I train at least twice a day. And each training session, it varies. It all depends on how my body is. But every day I have to go out and hit the road work. So I have to, I try to get like at least 5 to 8 miles in every day. I do a lot of cardio because cardio is key in fighting. And so for me, in my style, I primarily have to continue to focus on wrestling and grappling. So those are my two key points that I really focus on, from watching videos to training. But cardio is the main thing, because fatigue will make a coward of a man inside the cage. So never want to be tired inside of the octagon and cage. But striking wise, that's something that has always come natural to me. My dad was a pretty good striker. My uncle was a Golden Gloves champion boxer. So as in boxing and striking, like it's very it's like second nature. So I tell people, I just know I was just blessed with these talents. I thank the Lord upstairs, or the higher power, that I was just naturally gifted. But so striking, like boxing, kickboxing, those things come really, really easy to me. So I try to switch my focus to wrestling and jiu-jitsu, and do a lot of cardio, because I can use my cardio as a tool inside the cage, and I can really break people, just putting a lot of pressure on them. And it's hard to see it from the outside perspective, but when you're inside there, you can see when a man is going to give up from him being tired. Mm-hmm. So I try to use that a lot. And for my next fight, I'm still talking to because I fight for Titan FC on UFC Fight Pass. Still talking to the promoter and waiting for the next Titan card. They were pushing more for like the end of September, October, but he was in Germany this week. So whenever he got back into the States, he was going to give me a call, and we would talk more on that.
How do you train?
For people,
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry.
How do you train for taking a punch? The getting gassed and having to reach down, but there's no real way to it's either you can just take one or you can't, right?
Yeah, that's very true. There's no way to train for it. You either can take it or you can't. But with me, growing up, I didn't like to fight. I really didn't. You know, growing up in Brooklyn and not in the best places, I would see my dad fight here and there, and like my dad would allow him off, like but he can always back his word. Like he was one of those people that like he was just very crazy at times, but he can fight, and I would see that at a young age, and I didn't like fighting. Like I was always like, no, I don't want to fight, but one day someone punched me in my face, and then that like triggered off everything, and it didn't bother me at all. Like it just like I said, it didn't hurt nothing, and when I retaliated and defended myself, I realized that this is really natural to me, and so taking punches was pretty like the easiest thing. Some people to this day can't take a punch, but for me, if anything, like my teammates tell me that from the outside perspective that when I get punched, I don't see this because I'm like just very focused.
Yeah.
But when I get punched, like it triggers off the Michael Cora that we know. And I'm like, really? And I'm like, yeah, like you don't really see it, but like when someone puts their hands on you and touches you, like we feel like you wake up. And I'm like, really? Like I was like, I'm always there and focused, but like no, like just like go back and watch your film, and like when someone touches you and pisses you off, that's the real Michael Cora. And I'm like, oh, I guess. But yeah, I guess I just take it natural, and it doesn't bother me. I can take it, but I prefer not to take punches because I love
Me
my
too.
brain and my health.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I try to move a lot, and I know that if I can land one punch, I can put the lights out. And I just have that gift that like, I'm a southpaw, so I'm a lefty, and a lot of fighters don't really get to spar with southpaws, so it's kind of a tricky dimension for them to really get ready for, and then especially when you compete with someone that can strike really well. And like I said, I don't like to boast myself, but I do my homework, and I believe I'm one of the best strikers in the world. So like when I touch someone, I can put you out, and I just like I said, I don't like to get touched at all. I really don't. I rather not take any damage if possible.
Does we sent you some of our products, and I wondered, how's it work for you? Like, how's the Amelia work for you? Like, if you like an example of like a major difference, I try to describe to people the difference between like Amelia and like just some pain relieving cream you would buy at the store.
Mhm.
And like, say you do take a punch in the face, I would never put methyl salicylate on an abrasion. And I wondered if, I mean, you've probably been, yeah, you get beat up a lot more than,
Well, wouldn't the
or you take
terpenes-
actual like physical wounds, like our typical customers using it with arthritis or with some other, but you're taking like physical, you're like laboratory right now, I guess.
Right.
So
Well, I'm curious if the terpenes
how's
are
it,
going to help
has
with
it,
that.
how's it affected you? Is it,
I use Amelia on my back because I have this like nagging, like I believe it's like a muscle, but I had some sports medicine doctors in New Mexico tell me that I possibly have like a rib that just comes out in and out of place from time to time.
Huh.
And so this is something that's just gonna always reoccur, and it sucks because like it hurts, but when I put the cream on, like I'm not saying that it's like a miraculous thing, but
Yeah.
like it really does ease or completely stop the pain. And so I'm so happy that I have this because it helps so much. And like I've even gave one to my mom because my mom has like really bad back pains as well. Her back and her ankle as well. So I tell her always put it on, and she loves it. So
good?
yeah, I am so grateful that I have this in my hands, because like when I say at times like I'm just like annoyed by this little area on my back, like it's like I feel it almost every day or every other day, and now that I can use this cream and this lotion, like it really has helped a lot, and especially consuming the CBD cartridges as well.
What I want you to do is next time you have a fight or a big bruise, I want you to do like half of it so we can
That's
see
why,
the difference.
yeah, we keep talking about like doing a. I'm not talking to doing
Explain
this.
terpenes and what we're talking
Explain
about.
terpenes.
Yeah, explain what's in there and why they're so important. It's not just a scent in there. Because we get asked that all the time.
How much time do we have? The terpenes matter, we believe. Terpenes and cannabinoids all share a molecular precursor called geranyl pyrophosphate, and the basis of our product, starting with the vape cartridges and continuing through the e-liquids and now into the lotions, is looking at the terpene profiles of stereotypical sativa strains and indica strains, and knowing that they affect people differently. Sativas make you feel totally different from indica. It's not, it's real, and the difference between those two often is just the terpenes. Like you can have identical cannabinoid profiles come from Durban poison and from purple kush, but they could have the same CBD and THC and everything. But the terpenes are significantly different, and so we're putting cannabis-like terpene profiles in our lotions and the other products to replicate just consistently the sativa or the indica thing. With the lotions, the soothing and relieving, or the soothing and the invigorating, the difference is that soothing is it's literally started with purple kush. If you go Google the terpene profile of purple kush, and it's something along those lines, and the invigorating is much more sativa. So, but the terpenes are an integral part to what they call the entourage effect, which is the synergistic relationships between cannabinoids and terpenoids. And it's not just us. A lot of companies are doing this.
Right.
Like it's the way of the future. We weren't the first people to ever do it.
Right.
We were early on, I guess, but yeah, the terpenes that we put in the soothing and invigorating lotions are, they really do matter. They allow us to make product with just CBD in it as the pain reliever, and we're not making any medical claims.
No.
but without we'll just say without THC in them, and they're effective. That's why I'm like, honestly, I didn't know what you were gonna say. Like we always are curious with people, and we've had I don't know about with Amelia, but I know there was one guy who bought a starter kit of vape cartridges from us a long time ago, and he just wrote and said it didn't do a damn thing for me. And so but it's like that one guy that we remember, but there's always going to be things. It doesn't work magically for everything.
Well, and some people, they have to have it. Like I want to see if we can't get him some nutritional hemp supplements to go in smoothies and hemp seeds and as many of the wonderful, cell rebuilding qualities of hemp that, you're carrying down your body, that I would know about because being the mom of athletes too. So been there, fed y'all before. But at shows and stuff, we have people go, oh, this smells so wonderful. And they think we've put an artificial fragrance in there, and that's what is so amazing. It's not an artificial fragrance. It naturally smells absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, it's terpenes.
That is amazing. It's terpenoids are amazing.
Yeah. Yep. Well, I don't know how long we've kept you on here. I appreciate you putting up with our technical difficulties again. I think it's the moon, but this actually worked out pretty well.
Yeah, it worked out perfectly. I thought.
Well,
we've been technical difficulties.
We've been asked how to get in contact with you and how to follow you. So you're gonna send that. We need to write this on there, but won't we shout you out a website or your Facebook page? How do we get in touch with you?
Okay, so for my Instagram page, it's at Michael James Cora. Twitter, Snapchat, it's at Michael Cora MMA, and then Facebook, Michael Cora. I also have my athlete page at Michael James Cora on Facebook, so that people can like my athlete page and everything. And then I have email on email and my phone number on my Instagram page as well, so people can follow me there. I try to stay very active and just try to engage with as many people as possible. So if you want to just come over to the page and just talk a little bit, I'm always here for anything, and for just positivity, or just talk cannabis, or just life in general. I'm here for everyone. So, and anything I can do for someone in the world and give my service is what I truly want to do.
Awesome.
Outstanding. Well, cool. Thank you.
So thank you guys, Travis. Thank you, Julie. I appreciate everything. Thank you, Veedverks. You guys have been amazing to me, and I love, and I mean, love is an understatement of the products. Like it's amazing, and especially the terpenoids they're just fantastic. I just
awesome. Good, cool. Thank you.
So thank you very much.
Right. We will be in touch soon, and we'll be rooting for you.
Thank you, sir. And like I said, I'll keep you guys all updated on when I finalize my next fight and everything else. And we all have our personal contacts, so we can touch base whenever. Feel free to give me a call, anything, whenever you guys like.
Sounds good. Okay. Cool. Thank you. All right. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Yeah.
All right.
All right. We'll see you. Bye.
Bye. Do I hang up or?
No, you don't have to hang up yet. Now we're hung up. All right. Cool. Thanks, man. I'm sorry that it's.
Thank you, Travis.
You should go watch the video. It looks cool.
I would definitely watch the video.
Cool. All right,
share
man.
Share it. Oh, I need you to do something else, Michael. I can't tag you, so you need to go like our page so I can tag you.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Definitely. And
I'll do that right now.
And I love to cross post. So, like I'll post something of yours and cross post it and tag you, and you do the same thing. And like, especially before a fight and stuff like that, we want to make sure we're showing you support.
Yeah, definitely.
Perfect. Yeah. So thank you very much. I'll go on and like the page right now, and then I'll go watch the video as well.
Right.
Like I said, if anything, just feel free to text me or give me a call whenever.
Cool.
Okay, great.
All right. Thanks, Michael. We'll see you.
All right.
So you guys have a great.
All right. Bye. Sweet guy.